But FreeTrade sent an email around this week. I have an account with them, even though it has no money in it. Long story there. But they say I'll be unaffected by this. But they're bringing in a kind of new tier of, I guess, account service. They still have their kind of basics thing, which has about 1,500 or so securities, slightly more than that. You can't have your ISA with them, but that one is at least free. So you can buy some stocks there, and there's no monthly fee for that. They're now bringing in what they call the standard level account, which has their full range of stocks, 6,000 and something. I think you can have your ISA with them, but it does cost you about £5 a month. What do you think here, Steve?
So I've been snooping around their community, and they can't stop me because they've banned me for 1,000 years, so I'll never sign in. But I think this has generally been met quite poorly. I think this is off the back of them introducing share lending, something I seem to remember them saying that they wouldn't do. But now the basic account, the free account, essentially has had about another 3,000 stocks taken away from its universe, which is quite sad. And they've got a $4.99 tier and a $9.99 tier, which is packed full of things that, they're not features. Accessing a company's full range of stock isn't a feature. Limit orders and stop losses isn't something somebody should be paying for. Getting customer service isn't something somebody should be paying for. Getting analyst ratings isn't something somebody should be paying for. One of the things is really hilarious. You have to pay £10 a month to get access to the FreeTrade web beta, which all of these things are just a nuisance. It's like the problem with FreeTrade is that they've not actually invented an original feature in the whole time they've been there. They're like a disruptor that just copies everybody else and puts it behind a paywall. I don't know why they have got such a lack of invention, but I look at this and I said it on Twitter that people must be looking at this and thinking, well, why would I pick this over trading 2-on-2? Absolutely nothing there to differentiate it or make it better than going for trading 2-on-2, except to SIP, I guess. But then, why isn't you SIP with Vanguard or anyone else? Why would you pay £10 a month for it? Steve?
There's a SIP. So just to update a little bit, there was another email that came around from FreeTrade this week. You pointed out this was on the back of them introducing share lending, which they said one thing to be aware of when you have a brokerage platform is exactly how that brokerage platform makes its money, because it has to make money, right? And you need to be okay with the idea that it's going to make money somehow. And that might be by charging you a commission, like, say, Hargreaves Lansdown does, and it might be by lending out your securities, like Trading 212 does, or it might be by charging you a monthly fee, like FreeTrade does. And I don't have any view on which of those is better or worse. I just have views on which of those I prefer. And you need to be aware of the kind of ups and downs of either of those. So Hargreaves Lansdown is vulnerable to disruption with that kind of model. FreeTrade you will end up paying if you don't do anything. Trading 212, the risks that people associate at any rate, rightly or wrongly, with securities lending are fairly well documented. Pick your own choice out of these sorts of things. But it looks to me like I'm always struggling a little bit with, in fairness across the board, commission-free brokerages. Strictly none of the stuff that FreeTrade charges is, I think, a commission. However, if you pay it, or my view tends to be, if I have to pay it, and it's a monthly subscription rather than a commission, I don't think it really matters. I'm sort of fairly indifferent as to whether I send out a £5 a month in a subscription, or £5 a month in trading fees, or £5 a month in FX fees, or £5 a month in something else. To be honest, if £5 of my money goes from me to them, I'm sort of fairly indifferent as to exactly what mechanism it is that's taking that. Is that bad?
No, that makes sense to me. I think if you're going to charge $9.99 a month for an account, though, you have to kind of reduce the other commissions that come with it. So, FreeTrade's FX fee is about 3 times that of trading 2-on-2s, and when you're paying for the account up front, you kind of hope that would be, somewhat subsidised. That's the idea behind a subscription account. The subscriptions tend to be far cheaper than the product would have been to buy and use for a year. The subscription it tries to tie you in for multiple years, whereas FreeTrade seems to want the upfront cost and the fee as well. But yeah, I'm not a fan. Steve, you don't sound like you're particularly a fan either, so.
I'm not particularly a fan. I've had an account with them because I found out about them before Trading 212 and I never bothered closing it, and I occasionally collect a free share in it from someone who signs up to them. They were in a situation, and they might still be that situation to be honest, of while Trading 212 are not taking new accounts, which I think they've stopped again, I would encourage people to use a FreeTrade Basic rather than nothing, rather than sitting around in cash or something like that. But yeah, I don't tend to be a particularly big fan of this kind of thing. But I'm aware a lot of people have free trade accounts pretty much for the reason I just described. They wanted a 2121, and 212 were not offering them one. So
I like it.
yeah, I wasn't expecting that. I wish I'd planned that. I'm quietly pleased with myself for that one.